Yes guys, Happy New Year by the way. So we jump into the first game of the day. K1ck versus Millenium. K1ck blue side, Millenium red side. My name is Archarom, I'm together with K1ck. Welcome!
Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to be here with my great friend Archarom.
Is that all? Is that everything you have to say, man? Okay.
Well, I mean, do you want me to hype the game? Because I don't think it needs any more hype than it is already.
Yeah, it's by default really hyped. By the way, guys, I was able to interview Chico, but we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes, shall we? Looking at the K1ck side, we have Fiora on the top lane, Kindred in the jungle, mid lane Anivia, K1ck as the AD carry, and Alistar as the support. Millenium side, however, we have Archarom on the top side, Rek'Sai in the jungle, Orianna in the mid lane, Kalista and Thresh will be fighting on the bot lane.
Actually, it's really unfortunate that we cannot see the bans, but I predict that a Lee Sin and an Elise ban actually came through. But alas, we will see Kindred versus Rek'Sai in the jungle, which is a really interesting matchup, because I think that both these teams have actually a very good jungler, and I think that the early game will be a key component to how the game will develop. Obviously, we have two really aggressive bot lanes, which is awesome to see, especially for us. We have a passive mid lane, where both mid laners will try to scale and get their core items to go to the mid and late game, and we also have an explosive top lane. So a lot of the action on the side lanes. Mid lane will be a bit more controlled, but I'm eager to see how both these junglers will impact the early game.
Yeah, because they are so focused on the early game with Chase, and on the other side Joko. They have been having terrific performance overall in the Challenger Series Open Qualifier. I gotta say, I'm really sad that only one of these guys will be able to pass on into the finals and to the Challenger Series Qualifier, which sadly I won't be able to stream because it's closed. It's on tournament rail, so I seriously doubt that I will have access to that one. But while we have access to this one, this is what we are going to focus on, because tomorrow is the last game. The final will be fought tomorrow during the afternoon. So, meanwhile, I would like to talk about these picks. Kaze has been playing Fiora non-stop on the Challenger Series Qualifier, and k1ck was able to stole it away. Let's be honest, this is the first time we are going to see k1ck on a hyper carry top lane in this specific tournament. He is a beast as a split pusher, but this is the first time we are going to see anything like this.
Definitely. And the thing that worries me the most about k1ck's composition is actually their lack of engage. If you look at him, actually, they have a really diversified team comp. By that I mean that they have great siege with Anivia and k1ck, they have great wave clear, they have great split pushing, they have a solid laning phase, but their engage is really lackluster. Their only form of engage is actually Alistar, and it's not as reliable without flash. So they will have to go for a split push strategy, and when you go for that, if you fall behind in the early game, it gets really hard to execute, because obviously Fiora against Archarom is a skill matchup. It doesn't go either way very heavily, so it will be actually a very defining factor of the game if k1ck and Kaze can go head to head, or if one of them actually gets an advantage and pushes their opponent to the turret and actually manages to gain a lead and snowball it.
We have the bird's eye of the rift. Let me just tone down a little bit of the sound so you guys can listen to us. And there we go. Welcome to the Summoner's Rift, the first game of 3 games. Decide if someone is able to just clean sweep away. K1ck have been with a solid performance, I gotta say this, but they were always fighting 2-1. What do I say by this? Yeah, they always lose the second game because they are really confident and they actually make really hard mistakes. And versus Millenium, a team with so much experience, they might fall short this time, so they need to be careful with these situations. Cap is going to spot on Hansama, just push him away of that situation, while the Chase is going to use his Wolf just to deal some damage on Joko, showing off the Thunderlord's Decree. And we have some picks we need to discuss, like Loki support, Trundle support, but will we save that for the second game, K1ck?
Yeah, actually, let me just touch on a very important subject. We cannot stress how important this game is for both teams. Both of them, both k1ck and Millenium, actually went on a bootcamp Actually, Millenium live on a gaming house, from what I know, but they trained very hard for this game, and so did K1ck. They actually did a boot camp for a couple of days, or maybe 3, I don't know, but they trained very hard for this game as well. So this game actually defines their lives, and so they will be on a lot of pressure to perform and give their best at this game, and we actually can see some rookie mistakes from them, because if they let the nerves get to them, it can be very punishing on a game like this.
They will try to punish this time, as we have a lane swap, and Masterwork will try to punish him off, but Fiora and Kindred are not that easy to annoy with, but Lachase is going to respect that support, just going on to the other side of the map, which actually will give a pretty good start for Joko in case.
Yeah, we actually see a lane swap coming from Millenium here. It's not too bad, but they don't really have the pushing power to get the turret down as soon as possible. They don't have a Jinx, or they don't have like someone who pushes towers really quick, but they will actually get an head start on this, because K1ck were surprised. They did not expect the lane swap, and now Millenium are ahead in the jungle pathing, and they also have Millenium also have the option to 3-buff K1ck actually, because the Shaze chose not to do the blue buff, and Masterwork knows it because he spotted it.
Yeah, but it's not as punishing as it was in the previous season to get the triple start buff. So K1ck will try to compensate on the other side of the map. Are they going for the early dragon, or are they going for the tower? As the Chase is just approaching on the banana bush, putting up a ward, trying to spot his opponent, and Millenium are just not wasting any sort of time, just stunning that push non-stop, trying to take the turret. With the second wave, they have the siege minions, so they have the potential to take it down.
And actually, this is very smart by Millenium, because, as I mentioned earlier, the top lane matchup will be one of the key components for K1ck in order to snowball the game. But actually the thing is, Kaze on Archarom opted for an Ignite and TP option, which against a Kindred early game is actually really devastating, because if you have no escape summoner, you will be dead against the Kindred if she ganks you, unless you're sitting on your turret 24/7, which he will not want to. So Millenium actually are really smart with this lane swap. They draw out a lot of pressure early game from the top lane, and now we'll see how things go, because if k1ck chooses to go top, he has no turret to protect him, and actually this 2v2 can actually be really devastating for K1ck's side if they choose to go for it.
At the mid matchup, nothing is happening. Shiko is just farming away, not pushing the wave versus Pretty. We do have the blue start for Joko, but K1ck are aware of that. They have the ward in there. They try to steal it away. Lachase is able to take it down. The wall comes way too late and is not able to block Rek'Sai's path. She will be able to get away from that, but no triple buff start for Millenium at least.
Yeah, this actually was very good for K1ck, because not only Lachase gets a mark of the Kindred, but he also gets the blue buff, which he did not do earlier. So overall, K1ck end up with a slight advantage here, but they're still behind in gold only by a bit. Now we'll see how k1ck holds his own on the bot lane against Kalista and Thresh. It will be really hard, but K1ck are probably looking for a dive right now.
Rugs on the top side is just trying to push Joko away, but that's a level 4 Rek'Sai versus a level 2 Alistar. k1ck still trying to farm underneath the turret, while Kalista is just pushing on that turret. And Sama, who had great scores with the previous game on Kalista, but they find Joko. They're able to zone him out, so Archarom is alone on the top side, but k1ck is getting dove, and Sama gets the damage in. The teleport comes to the top side, Shiko tries to get the stun, and here comes the first blood. Millenium, however, take another kill on the bot side, so this is a 1-for-1, but first blood in favor of K1ck.
And great TP by Shiko, really making use of the teleport summoner that he chose over the Orianna's cleanse. Unfortunately, K1ck also loses k1ck on the bot lane, but they will trade towers, it will be even. The only problem for K1ck is that now Orianna is almost 15 CS up on Shiko, so that will be a really defining factor on the mid lane, but it's an Anivia anyway, she will scale. So really well played by K1ck, take the turret advantage and also the first blood, and there we go. K1ck on an advantage, can they do anything with it?
Always the same thing, K1ck ahead on the first game. Will they take this lead versus Millenium? As you told us, a team that has a gaming house, a team that is so good and so experienced. k1ck again caught by the death sentence, is able to parry the auto attack and the turret gets 2 shots on hand Sama, so they won't be able to follow this one through even if they want to. No summoner spells available for the bot lane aside from the Ignite, so no escape for them if they overcommit themselves, realizing that they are going back. Let me just see the goal. 1400 for Kalista. She will probably go for, there we go, recurve bow and double dagger on boots.
Definitely a good start for K1ck because not only did they get the first blood, which is obviously worth more gold, but also Millenium's bot lane now has no summoners compared to the flash and heal from K1ck. So if they choose to go to V2, they have the clear advantage because K1ck has more gold, he has more summoners, and they can actually force a fight. Also, they have no turret on bot lane, so it's an easy gank for Chase on Kindred as well. The problem is, and I have to say, is that, as I said, K1ck have an advantage now, but how can they push it forward? Because they have no engage, so they cannot force skirmishes. They do not want to force skirmishes because obviously Shiku is now behind and is going to have to play the catch-up game. And now here we go, Trash has some summoners and Rooks goes on him.
Masterwork is keeping the distance, throws the lantern just to bait him away. That bluff is actually viable, but Rek'Sai approaches, takes the lantern, Luchase is there, sporting the ward. It's a 3 versus 3, but Orianna approaches, so the squad is even bigger, and Cap is rotating to the top side to try and stop Archarom from farming. Kaze, with his Archarom, was only able to buy mana, so no stats available, no combat stats, and Kepe is trying to punish him away. He's going to use the charge, the damage comes in, he could flash in and take the kill, but he's not going to commit himself to that situation, while the turret on the bot lane is going to suffer from this, and this will be a turret advantage. Well, no, they will actually tie in terms of turret versus K1ck if they are able to take this one.
Actually really well played by Kepe. It will force Archarom to either use TP or to lose quite a few minions, and he will choose not to use TP, so he will lose quite a few minions to the turret actually. The thing is now, Fiora, True keeps being on the bot lane. He has the wave push to him now, so that's a pretty good thing. But the thing is also that they lose control over Drake. And the first Drake is actually really important for both teams, because they are quite reliant on their damage to do something. So they actually need the first Drake to bolster their power on the mid game, which is when the game will be the most impactful. We'll see what K1ck choose to do, because if they send Truklux right now top lane, the wave is frozen and there's no way he can farm. So the only option for them is to split the farm between K1ck and Fiora on the bot lane, which is really weird because they're not only sharing XP, but they're also sharing the gold. Meanwhile, Kaze can just do whatever he wants, but now he's actually pushing the wave for some reason, and I predict that Millenium will push the top wave, slow push it, and now go for Drake and actually try to do it with a 5-man advantage.
Chase is finally able to reach level 6, so his ultimate will be available on a big
And Chase is out of position right now.
And they just lost the blue buff. She won't be able to take it. Luchase tries to jump away. The shockwave is there. Will he be able to use the Lambert's Spite? They're trying to buy enough time, but for what? Luchase was caught. Luchase was killed. And nothing. They gain nothing from this. Meanwhile, Millenium will take even more advantage, rotating to the Rift Herald, getting the buff onto somebody. The top laner is not nearby the buff, so we won't take this one. Who will take it? This is Kalista taking the buff into the mid lane probably, and you give additional attack damage for the minions, so this is really, really bad for K1ck.
Yeah, and that's a really major mistake by K1ck. They send both Fiora and K1ck bot lane. They immediately show that their two main sources of damage are on the bot lane, so Millenium can just do whatever they want on the top side. We see Joko taking the blue buff, and then Chase being caught out of position with no one around him. So they lose the Rift Arrow for that. We see a very early siege by Millenium, and now there we go, the Drake, 5 versus 4. Either Truklux TPs and loses a lot of minions, or K1ck will actually give up the first Drake. We'll see how it goes now.
It's going down fairly fast. Ashiku was caught by the death sentence. Millenium is going to fall this one through, but the knockup is there by Rux. Here comes the TP from Truklux. He's trying to chase the prey. Will he be able to do so? They don't have the timer on the shockwave. They are really afraid of it. A couple of seconds away, that shockwave would have been game-changing. And K1ck are just going to let this one slide. They will probably try to take the mid lane, but as you said, Truklux is losing a lot of farm in the top side.
Yeah, actually, it chose to TP, so look at the minion wave now. He's gonna lose quite a few minions as well, and now K1ck cannot push their advantage. They lose the Drake. I'm surprised that Chico didn't die on that hook, but Millenium were probably too focused on finishing the dragon. And right now, K1ck have to wait for Millenium to make a mistake, because right now Chico is behind almost 20 CS, and Oriana will probably finish his Rod of Ages. Yeah, there we go. Meanwhile, Chico has to wait like a few more minutes to actually complete it. So, Pretty is actually having a big advantage on mid lane over the Chico. So, we'll see how the next skirmishes go, but K1ck need to be really careful because Rux is also level 4 compared to Masterworks level 6, and k1ck is behind in XP against Kaze as well. So, K1ck need to calm down, let Millenium take the driving seat for now. Let them do whatever they want, but then, when the 2-item power spikes come for them, they need to act on it, and quickly, because otherwise it will be really hard to force a team fight in the late game.
And Pretty is a player who really enjoys this sort of game, boy. He likes to play with Lulu a lot, he likes to protect, he likes to farm on the backline and out of the sudden be relevant into the game. Joko failed the knockup, but nonetheless he will probably take the Squirtle.
It happens, man. Yeah, it happens. I've been there.
I know, a lot of times. I usually cast your game, so I know what you're talking about.
Oh my god.
The DM though!
That's
Archarom.
so beast.
In terms of farm at least, k1ck is not falling from this game. Usually he falls a lot on the Challenger Series qualifier, but he plays for the team. He plays with a supportive style champion on the top side.
Well, he's about to fall off a lot of minions actually. If you look at the top line, look at Kaze just freezing that huge minion wave.
Is just not enough, as you told us. There's no Rod of Ages available. Chico might be able to go back after this wave and finish that Rod of Ages, and meanwhile Kalista is farming. Kalista is getting to where she needs to go. k1ck is still far from that Trinity Force. Well, not that far, but he should have this Trinity Force by now to use that mid-game power spike. And Nivea will try to stop those waves coming into the mid lane, while Millenium are just pushing recklessly in the mid lane to take that first turret off the mid lane to gain vision. And talking about vision, if you press F2, you will see the vision by Millenium. If you press F1, you will see the vision by k1ck. Even though k1ck are trying really hard to compensate, they don't have the kind of vision. I was just waiting for this. Luchase was caught once again. The shockwave comes in, but the Lambert Spite will keep him alive. Masterwork is thrown into below the turret to deal additional lockup, and they are able to trade one for nothing, but Chico was caught. He's in trouble. Will we have fried eggs in the mid lane? Rex wants to protect him. Luchase is still alive. Here comes Rex with the pulverize. Cap finished the Trinity Force. He's trying to turn the tides of battle. He might do it. They took 3 members down for the price of 1.
And actually, that team fight seemed so lost, and out of nowhere, Cap with the k1ck comes up, cleans the team fight. k1ck actually win the team fight in terms of numbers, but they lose the mid lane turret. And right now, k1ck have no outer turrets, and that's really important for them, because an Anivia without an egg and without turrets to protect her is gonna be really vulnerable. And if k1ck have no Anivia, they have no wave clear outside of k1ck. So actually, the game is going really bad for k1ck right now because they needed the laning phase. They needed to at least try to farm until 15 minutes. And right now the laning phase is crushed. There is no laning phase anymore because there are no turrets. And therefore, k1ck are forced to team fight. And as we said, their team fighting is really lackluster when it comes to at least comparing them to Millenium, because Millenium have a tanky frontline, they have engage, they have big potential, and here we go, k1ck's being caught out of position again.
That's the big potential, the damage flowing in. k1ck is able to at least survive a little bit. Luchase tries to close the gap. k1ck is still going in deep, and k1ck is approaching. Chico is approaching. Kaze is in trouble. He doesn't have his ultimate in time. Just a couple of seconds away, he's not able to reach in time, and here we go. Rek'Sai is forced to borrow away the play again, countered by k1ck. They are able to rotate as they want. They are able to counter these plays by Millenium.
Yeah, actually really well played. k1ck had a big package, so he was able to get there very quickly, and now k1ck will actually go for the Rift Herald. It's the second Rift Herald we see in the game, which is not quite usual to see. Now, what can k1ck do with this Rift Herald? Or will they even get the Rift Herald? Here comes Millenium.
Take it.
Yeah, they won't take it actually. they were too afraid of actually finishing it, but I mean, that's the thing. Without a Rift Herald, K1ck cannot even siege at the moment, because K1ck is quite powerful, sure, but they have no siege potential at the moment. They need a couple more items, or actually one more item until they do it. So right now, K1ck still need to wait for Millenium to actually do something that will give them an advantage, because look at K1ck. He's so weak compared to Archarom. Kaze has the Iceborne Gauntlet finish, and sure, he might be 0-3, but that's a bigger power spike than a Tiamat on Fiora. And now Drake is live, K1ck are not contesting it, and they will lose the second Drake.
You might try to go in, but versus a Kalista, it's almost impossible, and it is impossible. Millenium take the second Drake. Chico is showing us the mastery, but that's a level 4 mastery, Chico. That's nothing to be proud of.
That's nothing to brag about.
Yeah.
That actually only shows that you have not played enough games with that champion. But the thing is, I've said this over and over again, but I'll have to repeat it. K1ck have no reliable way to actually initiate a team fight or a skirmish, so they have to wait for Millenium to come to them. And if Millenium are able to do these fights on somewhere with no turrets, they actually can do whatever they want, because they can have the Thresh Hook, they can have the Orianna ultimate, they can put Archarom split pushing, and they do whatever they want. And right now, Millenium are actually managing the waves much better than K1ck, and we will see how K1ck manage to respond to that, because they need more vision, they need a lot more coordination between them to actually push the sidelines and try to take the first tier turret on mid lane, because otherwise K1ck cannot move around the map.
And although they are on front in terms of kills, they are behind in terms of gold. The CS advantage is piling on Millenium's side. Hurricanes is finished for Kalista. We might see a Blade of the Ruined King completed for Kalista in a couple of minutes. Let me just check. Yeah, more for 100 gold, and she will have the Blade of the Ruined King, and that's a power spike you don't want to reckon, want to force. A lot of wards in on the banana bush, beside the banana bush, and on the back of the red buff. So they have full control of their entrances on their side of the jungle, but I think Millenium are starting to lose their vision control.
I don't think he could actually siege anything at the moment, because they have no level 11s on their team. They have no one with a level 2 ultimate. Neither an Evian nor K1ck nor K1ck with this Fiora can actually do something impactful on a team fight. So the only thing that K1ck can do is actually what they're doing at the moment, which is rotate between the lanes. They can set up vision meanwhile, and they can try to take their opponents off guard, but they have to be very careful of the Thresh Hook. Masterwork fails the hook, great punish by Chico, but at the moment the shade is also quite low. They have the sustain from Rux, but they have to be really careful. But this is what K1ck needs to do. They need to slow the game down, just keep farming, try to get their 2-3 item power spike, but Millenium at the moment also needs to try to force a skirmish, because otherwise they will get outscaled by K1ck's team count.
Shay's a player who has surprised us time and time again with the Lees, with Lee Sin, with Rek'Sai is now falling short with Kindred. Is this something they need to be worried about? The Baron has just been spawned, so no more Rift Herald in this game at least. Now the Chelsea just doing the grab, is going to smite it away, but they're just going to spot that Scuttle Crab was conquered by Millenium, so that Baron is completely controlled on Millenium's side. No time to be worried about that objective. You tell me.
Yeah, actually I think that Baron is really important for Millenium. They need to keep control of it all the times, because if you have... Listen, like, we have Millenium, as I said, who want to force a skirmish, okay? So here's the thing. K1ck are not dumb. They actually know that they do not want to teamfight. So what's the best way to take the rabbit out of his hole? It's actually to bait him into a trap. Tell him, hey, come here, rabbit, there's some food here. And the food is the Baron. So Millenium need to control the Baron area as soon as possible. They need to take out all the vision in there, and then maybe K1ck will force a mistake, and then Millenium can take advantage of it. However, K1ck, if they are smart enough, will keep rotating between the lanes. They will keep pushing the sidelines. and then they will probably not need to check if Millennium are doing Baron, because someone will always be farming. So actually this is a game of mind games, because both teams are actually trying to predict what the other ones will do, and someone needs to go take the first step. Otherwise, if no one takes the first step, K1ck will eventually outscale Millennium, and things will go really bad for them.
Well, K1ck was trying to take the first step with the special package, or the package delivery, as he told us. And now he went back 20 minutes into the game, so he has home guard for free, by the way. We have to be aware of that for k1ck as well, with Archarom and home guard enhancement teleport play. That is a play that is now available, and it's time play. You no longer can buy those home guard enhancements and use the teleport with Archarom in the beginning of the game. You have to wait 20 minutes. That's why Archarom is struggling a little bit on the top line, but k1ck is still able to pull it off with no problem whatsoever. K1ck now with the 3-4s and BF will try to push the mid lane turret. This is the turret that they need. They need to take this advantage, but this could be a fight from Millenium. You told us that they want this fight, so K1ck have to play really careful around in the mid lane. One death sentence on the wrong target could be the death of them.
Definitely. And the thing is, Rox is still level 7 compared to the level 9 of Masterwork, and 2 levels on a support is really big and impactful on a team fight. So actually, we'll see. I think that right now K1ck have the perfect time to siege, because they're close to their 2-item power spike, but here we go. Chico may be out of position, and the team fight begins.
The Grand Challenge comes in from K1ck, is not able to complete it. The Shockwave only pulls Chico, and the damage is still not there. Chico with the Blood of Ages at 9 stacks is able to survive it with no problem whatsoever. Masterwork is looking for another death sentence. He's not able to grasp the target that he wants. Time after time, they are trying to get the failures of the opponents, but neither of these teams are able to grasp it as they want it. The Ice Wall blocks out the way as k1ck is forced to use the Onslaught of Shadows on the defensive way. Kalista tries to render the targets, the rocket comes in, he's so low. Masterwork throws in the box, but it's just not enough to get the kill. K1ck wants something, but he just can't handle it.
And actually, I have no idea why Joko was out farming the enemy's blue buff. He just gave away the mid turret, he just gave away a lot of pressure on this game, all for a single blue buff. I mean, sure, taking the blue buff away from an Eevee is important, but maybe defending your mid turret with your team is a tad bit more important, especially when you're Rek'Sai and you have Flash, because with Flash you can actually initiate a team fight. So I'm not sure, but Joko ended up taking the blue buff. Millennium ended up losing the mid lane turret. We'll see if it's worth, but right now Millennium are on a key advantage because they will get the third Drake, and this is really worrying for K1ck, because if they do not contest the next Drake, it will be really worrying when Millennium has 4 Drakes and they can just get the 5th one anytime.
Yeah, that's the red flag, as I always say in Portuguese on my casts. When you have the red button active, that's the 4th dragon. The 5th one is always imminent, so you need to be really careful about that objective. You don't want to fight a team with aspect of the dragon in this new meta, because if you are able to do it, well, you can take Baron for free, and a Baron is a victory. Also, something that I was watching, I was looking at the items that were finally closed in. We have the rapid fire cannon for Kindred, which is Chase. Riven is either completed for Fiora, but she is still trying to get herself into the Black Cleaver. Also, an additional thing is, k1ck was able to finish the Iceborne Gauntlet really soon into the game, but he was not able to get to the second item as he needed. He had the advantage, but he was not able to close it. Okay, finally he's able to get the Deadman's Plate, but with the advantage that he was building on, I was expecting the second item way more sooner.
Yeah, definitely, and this is the point where K1ck gets really scary, because they have the 2-item power spike on k1ck, they have the 2-item power spike on Anivia, so they're really powerful at the moment. Not only that, but once Fiora completes the Black Cleaver, she will be able to 1v1 Archarom and actually pressure them a lot. So we actually might see K1ck trying to do something really important on this game, because the power spike is real for them, and they might try to push an advantage. And look at Masterwork, almost caught by Chico.
Another Ice Ball leaving team with no answer. He's trying to block people, but Chico is not able, and he's always spamming the level 4. I don't think he's using that level 4 to show how good he is. He's just showing us, well guys, I'm not that master at Vedius, so that's why I'm failing. Sorry guys. Meanwhile, the ball is going to zone him out, the box as well. Oriana is looking for the cluster, the shockwave. Rux in. Oh, the shockwave of 3 members. Rux comes in with the ultimate and a teleport with the home guard enhancement. He's looking for K1ck, and Chico is with the egg, but the ultimate from Chase will keep them alive. Here comes Rux with the combo, but I don't think this is enough. They're just destroying K1ck. One after one, and the red buff will finally slow down the chase. Sama is not able to take the ace, but they are able to take the inhibitor turret.
And that was such a huge mistake by Kindred, because Fiora K1ck actually used this grand challenge on Joko the Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai was so close to die, and that would proc the grand challenge. And out of nowhere, Chase uses the Lamb's Respite, and he does not die. Grand challenge does not go off, and the huge heal on the K1ck's team actually goes to waste, and they lose the team fight because of that. So really major discoordination by K1ck. They do not use their ultimates to great advantage, and Millenium doing a great job at zoning out the K1ck team. They end up taking the inhibitor on the mid lane, and now this is really worrying for K1ck, because they will have to stay under turret, and that means that Millenium can pressure the Baron anytime they want.
Why do you put yourself in the choke point with the ball in there and try to go through? That was a 3-man shockwave. That's a lot of damage. That's K1ck flying in. They won for the Baron. This is the play that either gives them a game or takes the game away from them. They at least are able to take the Baron. They will take Rux down, but the Baron buff is applied on K1ck. A lot of damage comes in.
What is
Joko gets the grand challenge, so that's a sustain coming in. Kaze goes way too deep. K1ck are taking the play. Oriana comes in late, but gets the first kill as they are going to throw Thrash at the face of K1ck. That's a double coming in for Sama. That's a triple coming in, and only K1ck survives with a Baron
buff. Look at the minions on the mid line. Actually, they're pushing out. They're going to take out a lot of damage on the Nexus turrets, or actually not, because K1ck is here. But that seemed like a lost fight by Millenium. Out of nowhere, Joko and Kaze go in. They die for nothing, but K1ck wasted a lot of cooldowns on them, and Sama and Pretty doing a great job together with Masterwork. They cleaned up the fight, but still K1ck as the Baron buff. K1ck did a great shot calling there. They actually managed to snag the Baron buff out of nowhere, but I'm not sure if it will be enough to keep them in the game, because right now they are behind 5k gold. It's not a lot, but the hope is still there. They can actually win team fights late game. The problem is, Rooks is still 2 levels behind, and that matters a lot because he's not tanky enough to actually take the fights on, to be a tanky frontline, and that's costing K1ck a lot of time wasted on their tanks, because the thing is, Kaze and Joko can afford to go in and die because it takes a lot of time out of K1ck, and meanwhile, K1ck have no frontline to actually divert Ansam and Pretty, so both carries on Millenium's side can just do whatever they want because they do not have to worry about anything. So it will be interesting to see how K1ck react. The Drake is coming up in 30 seconds, and it's gonna be the 4th Drake for Millenium if they manage to take it.
That's why K1ck are going in for that Riverside, trying to get the vision control, trying to push Millenium away the double buff, and Sama with a lot of damage. He was able to close in 3 items. Hurricanes, Blood of the Ruined King, Mercurial Scimitar. That's a lot of damage on a Kalista. Oriana was also able to clear 2 items and is building himself the 3rd item, which will be a Luden's Echo. The dragon is going to respawn now. Archarom is coming from the backside. They don't have vision there. K1ck are not aware that Archarom could be just running into their faces, and this will be a close team fight as he flies on through, scares 4 members of K1ck, and K1ck might go down, but Chase will give him some time. The grand challenge is not enough, and the shockwave destroys the backline of K1ck. Joko with the command protect has no problem whatsoever on helping them getting the double, getting 4 members down, and again, 3 members down, and again, K1ck and Rux are going to survive, but for how long?
This might be game for Millenium, actually. A huge mistake by K1ck. They did not ward the flanks. Millenium let them take the Drake. a great bait, and then out of nowhere comes Kaze with a great onslaught of shadows. Great shockwave by Pretty, and this is gonna be game for Millenium. There's no way that he can defend. We'll see now. Brooks goes in.
And so is K1ck, but the damage is way too high. K1ck is just going to get destroyed as they get the ace. 5 seconds on the clock. That's not enough time for that Nexus, because 5000 HP is nothing for Millenium as they take the first game versus K1ck Esports.
Really well played by Millenium, actually. The key components that made K1ck lose this game was actually the lane swap. They didn't expect it. It was really well played by Millenium. They managed to nullify all of Kindred's early game presence, and then Millenium just played the meta game, the macro game actually, way clever, because they were way clever on the way that they managed side waves. They were way clever in the way that they managed objective control. By that I mean the Drake, obviously, because by the time that K1ck actually got the Drake, they were forced to do a bad team fight, and that team fight eventually lost them the game. But the siege on the mid lane, where Orianne actually shockwaves 3 people, was really well played by Millenium, because they out-rotated them, and then they forced K1ck to go through a choke point, and that shockwave simply won them the team fight, and that team fight actually won them the game, in my opinion.
Game changing. We talked about Orianna time and time again. She's the queen of the mid lane for a reason, and K1ck just lost the first game. They always win the first game. Is this it?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think K1ck actually need to play with a stronger front line. I don't think they can play with this team composition, because, as I said early game, if they fall behind with this team composition, it's really hard to come back, because we have seen K1ck actually falling behind in a few games in the Challenger Series qualifier, but they always come back by managing to do great team fights. And if you have a Kindred and you have a Fiora on the same team, you cannot initiate team fights. It's impossible to do, so they have to, for the next game, take a more balanced team composition, maybe with an engager in the top lane, maybe with an engage in the jungle, but they have to have something that can actually make a front line and distract the carries from Millenium. Because otherwise, it just happens as it did on this game, just Orianne and Kalista doing whatever they want and winning the game alone.
Don't forget, guys, we will have a giveaway after the second game. It will be a 20 euros RP card. It will be available for every person on the chat who is going to participate, of course. But subs will have 5 times more chances of getting that card. So if you want 20 euros on your League of Legends client, well, I hope you guys stay put with us and let's wait for the second game. This seems like a pretty interesting series. It's not the end for K1ck and it's not the end for Millenium. We'll just make a quick break while we are waiting for them, and we'll jump into the Champion Select as soon as possible. See you right back.
See you soon.
Now we switch sides over. My name is Archarom and I'm together with K1ck, and I gotta say before anything, you guys are amazing. We have full house today. Remember, we are going to make a giveaway after this game. 20 euros RP cards, but for the followers. Subscribers will have additional chances, but if you want this card, just follow. It's not that hard. Also, if you like my work, just follow me on my Facebook and yada yada yada. And welcome, K1ck!
Asha, don't tell anyone, but I have won that already. I have the 20 euros RP for me, so don't tell anyone. I'm just kidding. Obviously, you can and should participate and you'll have an equal chance. But anyway, the teams are now picked and we are into the game. Obviously, we have the delay time, but we can see the Champion Select. Really interesting comp by K1ck. They change it a lot. The only pick that remains the same is the K1ck for Kepe, which he did great on. It wasn't a problem. Was really well executed. However, the 4 other members are playing very different. Lidchase on Lee Sin, which is a playmaking champion. It's not like Kindred. I mean, sure, they have a lot of early game pressure as well, but Lee Sin can actually initiate some team fights. It's hard, but he can. K1ck on Archarom, a way more standard pick for him. He can also initiate team fights. And Brooks on the Thresh. We all have seen what Brooks can do on that Thresh.
Yeah. He's solely, on the last game, He was actually the guy that was able to carry them. Those hooks were infernal. I gotta say, if I was on the other side, I would just rip my hair right off my head, because Brux did amazingly with that thrash. Every single death sentence on target, on the priority target. It's not only about getting a death sentence connected, it's also about getting the death sentence connected on the AD carry, on the AP carry. And talking about carries, Millenium are going to bring Orianna and Kalista yet again, and they did such a wonderful job in the previous game. But before we start this one up, K1ck, I have juicy information. Okay?
Okay, give it to me.
The current lineup was used for the playoffs, which they just barely managed to qualify, and they finished on the second one. I'm talking about Millenium, okay? They ended up losing to Infinity and Beyond, but they look really strong in the tournament. I'm saying this because I have inside information by a really good guy, a really good caster that gave me in the previous game. So, before Hans and Pretty joined the team, they completely played for the top laner, for Kaze. And we noticed why in the previous game. It was absolutely amazing with Archarom, but now with 2 additional carries, they are doing really, really strong. Let me just turn down the music so we can jump right into the Summoner's Rift. And this is what we need to focus about. So, the new setup by Millenium, let me just put up the little layout. The new setup by Millenium is absurdly powerful, and I'm going to let you talk now, because I have to put up the score on the stream, okay?
Sure. Well, the only problem that I have with Millennium's team comp is that if they fall behind, or if by some miracle the game gets to like 5 or 6 items, they actually lack a lot of damage. We have Kalista and Orianna as their main carries, sure, but Kalista falls off a bit late game, at least compared to K1ck and any other AD carry, because she will always do that 90% damage instead of the 100% because of her passive. So Kalista will always fall off a bit. We have Orianna, who is great at dealing burst damage, but her sustained damage is not that much, and even her burst is not that great late game. So I mean, she's a great champion, sure, but she won't offer the reliable damage output. And then we have Rek'Sai and Shen, who, if they fall behind, or if they get really late game, won't be able to do any damage on, for example, Lee Sin and Archarom and Thresh. So we'll see. I really like Millennium's team comp though. They have great laning pressure, they have a lot of roaming potential, a lot of global pressure as well with Rek'Sai and Shen. But for now, we will see standard lanes, so a very different game from previously. Obviously, K1ck are more used to the standard lane, so they are no longer caught by surprise. 2 very early game powerful junglers. I really like the Lee Sin Rek'Sai matchup, because it's really hard for Lee Sin to skirmish 2v2, because Rek'Sai usually wins if she plays it right. So we'll see what Luchase does, what his petting is. We see the jungler starting on the same side. Might see a level 3 gank on a bot lane, but I doubt it. We'll see.
Yeah, what the junglers bring in this game, this is going to be so relevant. Kaze now with the Shen, he is aware he doesn't need to carry any longer as he did before. They're going to bring a global presence on the top side. Rux is able to reach level 2 faster than Millenium side, and Hansama is forced to just back away from that lane. K1ck did an extraordinary job with K1ck, so he's going to try it yet again. Mid laner is going at it, but they are just failing skill shots, they are just failing the last hits.
I actually think Chico is really nervous because he's missing so many skill shots and so many minions. Usually we don't see Chico doing that, but I think he has succumbed to the pressure a little bit. We'll see if perhaps winning the lane or getting an advantage actually helps him, but for now I think Chico might be a liability on the K1ck side. I really hope that he recovers from that and that he calms himself down, but missing those many skill shots and missing so many minions in the early game not only makes you fall behind, but also gives your opponent a psychological advantage, so we'll see. But actually he's ahead in minions for now, so it's fine, but we'll see.
Yeah, Pretty has not done a pretty job in the mid lane as well. They lost a lot of CS in the early game, so we are still in the early game, of course, but they lost a lot of CSs on the first wave. Lee Sin is in the mid lane trying to get the gank on Pretty to try and remove the summoner spell, but Joko is there as well, so he's going to alleviate the pressure. Adamant that he was able to push them away. Rux fails the death sentence yet again. He's just warming up, probably see what K1ck are able to do this time. And I wanted to talk about the interview that I did with Chico, the mid laner from K1ck, and I asked him, since they are now in the semifinals, how is the pressure on the team? How is the moral of the team? And he actually, let me just see if we are going to have an engaged Rek'Sai pushes from the backline. Rux is just got out of position, headbutted away. This will probably be the first blood. He fails the death sentence, and this is an easy kill for Hansama. And the guy was doing so well without kills in the previous game. Getting himself the first blood is really good.
Definitely, very well played by Joko, setting up the gank, instantly flashing to avoid Rux from flashing before, and then again ganking the lane with a flash Alistar Q combo is like really easy, so Millenium take advantage. It's gonna force K1ck to lose a lot of minions, a lot of pressure, but Lachey is here for the dive.
Masterwork receiving the damage from the turret. Wills gave the kill onto K1ck. He just went too deep with no vision of the jungler, no whereabouts of where he was. He didn't even see him at the top side, so that was an eager dive by Masterwork.
Masterwork had no business doing that. All he had to do was zone K1ck away from the turret, just like pressure him, but don't use any skills, especially not anything that makes you tank the turret. So, huge mistake by him, ended up giving a kill to K1ck. Now the gold is back even, so that mistake actually cost them the advantage that they had on bot lane. Right now, the only thing is, I see Pretty is choosing to go, chose to go with the cleanse on Orianna, but the only cleansable move that K1ck actually have is the death sentence from Trash or the onslaught of shadows, but obviously a 1 second fear isn't probably a lot, so he's really respecting Rux and his Trash in order to use a combat summoner only for that. I would have preferred to see a heal or maybe a barrier from Orianna, but Pretty is running the cleanse, which means that Chico actually has an advantage in terms of combat summoners on the lane. I actually forgot about the gravity field from Victor as well, but obviously, I mean, 1v1, you should never get caught in a gravity field, especially as Orianna, so really interesting to see the respect that he has from Rux in that death sentence, but that means that Chico actually has an advantage in that lane in terms of skirmish 2v2 or even 1v1.
Yeah, but no core potential though. With no ignite, you don't have that sort of core potential. With the barrier, okay, you will survive the shockwave and other things, and again, Rux failing the death sentence. He was on top of a ward. He's not on top of his game.
And Chico being caught now.
Yeah, but the gravitational field is going to lock down one. Here comes the taunt. Kaze will caught him. Chico is in trouble, but k1ck is there to save him. They're going to answer the call as Shen is going through the other way around the big way. K1ck was caught out of position. He's going to just Valkyrie away as Rux pushes them away with the flay. He's looking now for the death sentence. He flashes in. He gets on Masterwork. It's not the target that they wanted, but they're just going to pile on top of him. That's the support, but that's a dead support. They now can finally get the dragon on this game.
And really well played by K1ck. They end up taking the kill advantage. They'll probably take the Drake as well. But the thing is, k1ck burned this TP for the Shen ulti. So obviously not only the Shen ulti has a shorter cooldown, but Shen also goes top and he's able to farm. And he still has TP, so a really huge advantage on top lane, and here comes Joko for that steal.
Oh, the smite for the TP comes in, Lee Sin is able to take it, Lachey flashes away from the shockwave, but goes down nonetheless. Chico is the next in line, and they are just taking target after target. Even though they won the dragon, they lost the fight, and Rux might be the third one. But K1ck is there to protect him, but there's no Sheen available, so the damage is not that big.
And there goes what I said. Shen went top, but he still had TP. So k1ck ended up burning his TP for the Shen ulti, but Shen not only got more minions top lane, but he also got the TP advantage. And look at the difference in minions right now from Kaze and k1ck. 14 minions more for Kaze. So right now this Shen has the advantage, can actually win 1v1 against the Archarom now. So k1ck is in a really bad spot. He has no summoners, and Kaze can abuse that on the top lane. And the next ulti that Kaze actually has will not be able to be responded by k1ck unless obviously he cancels it.
And this is what my colleague was talking about. How Hansama and Pretty are just calm. They are so confident on their carry positions that allows Kaze to make those moves, those smooth moves. He's not in any sort of panic. Not only he took the first game, is always really reliant on a pretty enhanced Sema, so it's going to be really hard for K1ck to come back. And as I was saying before, the interview with Chico, he was telling me that today is the biggest day of his life, his most important day of his life. Everything is going to be settled today because he is aware that if K1ck are able to take this one, and they now have to get the reverse sweep, if they are able to take this game, or these cities, he will be at the Challenger cities because he's not afraid of the rest of the teams. So he's aware that this is the biggest mountain he has to climb in order to get into the pro level. And he told me that he's the one on the team that has the most problems fighting off emotions. So if he's going to get gamped, and as he is now, Chico will go down, his performance will fall short. And we are seeing this on the second game.
And that's the thing about young players, is that when they get on a big stage, they actually feel the pressure a lot more. And we cannot blame Chico. I mean, he's like 16 years old, so when I was 16, if I was playing a game like this, I would be pretty nervous as well. So we cannot really blame him, but right now, Millenium have the upper hand. Choco is actually diving in. Here comes the Chen ultimate, and another kill for Millenium.
Yeah, standing out is enough. Again, K1ck with the plays. He only needs to play R and get the assist. It's not the Karthus, but it's an assist nonetheless. And by the way, yeah, when you get into the big stage, you go really down. He's 17. He's evolved a lot. He has evolved a lot, but still the pressure is on. And you were telling me if you were on this stage, you would have that sort of confidence as well. But come on, K1ck, you will never get on this stage. That's why you're casting with me, you know.
Oh my god. Do I have
fired.
to come to this stream to hear this? Because I will leave right now. I will leave, but the 20 euros will still be mine. So
yeah, you will take them away nonetheless.
Make your choices. Actually,
so,
I mean, the thing is, right now K1ck seem really demotivated. I'm not sure if the first game actually hit their morale really hard, but the momentum is all on Millenium's side right now. Those mistakes that we saw in the mid lane do not usually happen with K1ck. So right now they seem to be not focused, not confident at all. We see that Chico is taking so much time to get the blue buff. So K1ck are really scaring me because I think that they might not have been prepared for this game as much as they thought they were. So we'll actually see what happens in the next minutes because that can really turn the game around. But right now, look at Pretty 2-0-2. Rod of Age is finished against the Negatron by Victor. So the mid lane has constantly been won by Pretty, and he's doing a great job in these matches. Not only that, but I think that K1ck is one of those players that really complements the team. Dies for the team. He has no problem sacrificing himself if that means that the team actually gets an advantage. And he plays those support champions, but actually plays them like a carry because his Chen is actually is carrying this game. The Drake play, that was mostly him. The mid lane play, that was mostly him. So he's doing a great job, and Millenium solo laners actually outclassing K1ck solo laners by far on this series.
Yeah, it's up to K1ck to shut down K1ck and not allow him to use the Semifinal, but you have to have a lot of vision on that Shen to not allow it. You have two sorts of ways to interrupt the Stand United. You have to be close to him. And K1ck so far was not able to do so. The Chase is in the mid lane trying to stop K1ck. K1ck is already looking for another one. Joko is on the right side of the map trying to get a kill. The Chase comes in, tries to take the wolf, but is not able to do so. Receives a lot of damage instead. And the gravitational field is going to get K1ck out of place.
Unlucky.
Unlucky, man. And they're
Really
losing
unlucky.
everything.
Yeah, well, the thing is, K1ck cannot do anything about it because he has TP, sure, but he knows that if he wastes his TP, then Shen can just ulti anywhere and there will be no chance to follow him. So K1ck can just roam as he wishes because then, as we show right now, he can just TP back top lane, and if he needs to help his team, he has the Stand United. So that's the powerful thing about Shen, and that's actually something that I don't see many Shen players using, is the TP advantage you get when you play Shen, because you can take TP and you can really just like roam anywhere and just go back top and use TP freely, or you can take Ignite and actually have some kill pressure in the lane. But that's the powerful thing about Shen, is basically you have an extra combat summoner.
Again, Rux falls short of the death sentence. Not even Rux is able to bring himself in that position to carry the team. k1ck receives a lot of damage from the grasp of the Undying, and that mastery is dealing a lot of damage on k1ck, who's going for the Trinity Force start with Archarom. Really the opposite of what Kaze did in the previous game with the Iceborne Gauntlet, and now with that Rift Herald on Joko's side. We were not able to see it, that they just did it, but the buff is there. It's not a defensive buff, so the minions will die shortly, but still k1ck goes way too deep, and Chico is there to help him. Joko is burning. Is it enough? k1ck wants to kill, but there's no ultimate to follow it through, and Joko will survive yet again. Oh! The Death Blazer, one pixel away!
And now Chico just wasted his flash for nothing. He gets nothing in return. He loses a lot of farm on mid lane. And this is just a disaster, because actually, if that play had worked, it would actually be good for k1ck, because they could not only get the kill from the gold from the kill, but also push the top lane and actually get a turret. But right now, they lose the bot lane for that, they get nothing in return, and Chico wastes the flash for nothing. So that backfired, and actually Millenium are just thankful for that, because sure, they made Rek'Sai and Chen flash, but they don't really care. No flash on Victor though is gonna be huge for them in the next team fight.
And he was forced to go for the Abyssal Scepter, and now going for that bot lane to farm, to try to reduce the discrepancy that exists in the mid lane. Joko finds himself another horse, another pony, and the pink ward. 30 gold. He just put it there, man. He just lost the ward that just put it there. That's devastating.
Feels bad, man.
Yeah. Feels really, really bad, and now he will feel even worse because the top that will probably go down. Kaze wants to do it. k1ck is able to stop. Lachase goes in. Lachase was not able to appear in this game. Not in this one and the previous one. Lachase just falls short today.
Honestly, I don't really blame him, because the thing is, top lane was not really gankable. I mean, sure, it was a bit in the early game because he had the damage to do it, but not really a lot. Mid lane is not really gankable either, because Victor offers no CC. Unless you're like a level 6 Lee Sin, you cannot really do anything to an Orianna. Top lane adds some potential, but Kalista and Alistar are really hard to kill, so not the best game to pick the Lee Sin into, because Lee Sin actually needs at least one gankable lane, something that he can abuse the power on. For example, if actually k1ck was playing Shen against an Archarom, I would have picked Lee Sin because it's actually an easy game, but Lachase really had nothing to do with the Lee Sin, so I'm not sure if he could have actually done much this game. So thing is though, when k1ck fall behind with his team comp, it's gonna be really hard, because look at Joko. That man is a beast. So tanky right now, Orianna is so strong, and they have no way of actually killing anyone, except probably Ansama, but even as Ansama is really strong, and he has the Stand United, he has the Command Protect, he has the Alistar Peel, so k1ck, if they want to come back to this game, they need to play very smart right now. They need to control the side waves, they need to force something, but even then, they have to always be careful of the Stand United.
And I think k1ck is adapting now. He switched it over to the Iceborne Gauntlet. I believe he was going for the Trinity Force, but he realized, nah, it was taking way too long, so I better go for the Iceborne Gauntlet. I need to be tankier. I need to be the front line on this game. As in the previous game, we didn't have any sort of reliable front line, aside from Alistar, who was falling short through the entire game in terms of experience. So he's going to compensate with the Iceborne Gauntlet. Rux built himself boots on mobility, but so far he was not able to rotate. He was not able to get that game-changing death sentence. k1ck are still grasping for life, but minute after minute, they are running out of air.
I think Millenium are actually playing the smart game here. They know that with this game, actually k1ck are getting really demoralized, because they seem like they're helpless. They seem like they cannot do anything, so this is really a great mind game played by Millenium. They keep going to this top lane because they know that they will force people to come here, and they will force Archarom to lose some XP, or maybe even lose some gold, and k1ck right now, they need to wake up. They need to try to do something, because if they don't, they will fall into this numb state where you just are playing for playing and not actually focused on what you're doing. And if they do that, then Millenium will just take the advantage, because they're already one game up ahead, okay? So they have the mental state on their hands, and they have the psychological advantage. And right now, here we go, the hook is landed, and
They want Vidi, but they're just piling on top of him, so the shockwave is going to deal a lot of damage, but they are still on top of it, and k1ck is going to take the double, and he's going to flash to take the triple. Even the Rift Herald is assisting, and he's going to throw the rocket, but it's just not enough. Oh my gosh, headbutt the blind man mid-flight as ck1ck tried to get the death sentence, but the fates call, and the fate today is not to take the kill.
Really messy team fight by both teams. Actually, k1ck wasting the flash wall on Rift Herald was not a great idea. He had a double kill, he didn't need to waste the summoners, but great headbutt by Masterwork, actually saving the team fight. Pretty being caught out of position, fails the flash into the Baron pit, and actually costs the team fight for his team. So really well played by k1ck. This is what they need. They need to wake up, they need to make a decision, and they need to actually force something. Well played by ck1ck, showing off his thresh skills, hitting a great hook on Pretty, and there we go. k1ck get the advantage. However, they do not press it. They do not take the 600 HP top lane tower. This is really worrying because they need the towers, they need the global gold, they need to scale into the late game and actually outclass Millenium in that regard.
I was looking at, I didn't have time to talk about this, but Lachey's went for the challenging smite and instead of taking the tracker's knife. So he bought himself the side stun. Okay, the side stun gives you additional HP when you evolve it. But why the challenging smite? This is something that you usually build on a solo queue basis and you take the tracker's knife in the competitive scene. Or do you disagree? Because you are a jungler, you have to enlighten us about this.
Yeah. Well, actually, both options are viable. No one is better than the other. You use Tracker's Knife if you actually want to use, like, for example, your Trinket to actually ward and the Tracker's Knife to make plays, because obviously Lee Sin needs wards for both things. Challenging Smite is actually really good against Rek'Sai, because against Rek'Sai you actually need this power of the Challenging Smite, because otherwise you cannot duel her, or you cannot skirmish as efficiently. So it was a good purchase by Lachey's. The problem with this is that he wastes another 800 gold on Sidestone. But anyway, here comes k1ck trying to engage a team fight.
Cow better than the yours, that's all I have to say. Masterwork with the master play so far is not giving a break to any one of them. Lachey's was caught, Lachey's lost half HP in an instant, and he's building tanky. This could be a next team fight as Joko is going to get caught by the death sentence. He has the Stand United, so he won't come down that easy. Kaze is able to get k1ck. Shiku is really close with the target, so they're going to throw the cow yet again. Move, man! Shockwave doesn't hit anybody, and Shiku is going down. Kaze sends to the Vorpal Blade and finally seals the deal. k1ck is just grasping for that again as he fails the combo. Lachey is forced to bail out of that, and k1ck once again loses the fight.
And honestly, that fight was almost a 5v4 because Lachey was so low previous to the fight that he did nothing there. He actually managed to use the Dragon's Rage. I didn't even see where, but that fight was basically 5v4. Rek'Sai usually has no engage, but with a Shen by his side, he got a great knock-up and a following taunt by Kaze. Really well played by Millenium. They are showing great prowess in the macro game because they always manage to out-rotate and out-maneuver k1ck. And right now, Millenium take another 2 turrets. And that's the difference between Millenium and k1ck. k1ck won a team fight, they didn't take any objective. Top lane turret took ages to be destroyed. And now, Millenium win one single team fight and they take 2 towers. That's the main difference in this game. That's what's making Millenium win the series at the moment.
How can you come back after this one? Losing everything. Time after time, when you thought you were coming back into the game, you lose a fight and you lose all those structures. And it's 4 turrets for 1 so far. They can't even take the vision that they need to reply to this composition, to reply to this strategy that Millenium are taking. They have the experience, we talked about this. k1ck are really good, but they are playing against Millenium with such a good roster, such a good strategy, such experience that they have. Masterwork was caught, but nope, I'm not going.
Well, the thing is, Shico is so weak right now. Like, the other team fight, he actually landed great skill shots. He landed a great death ray, he landed a great chaos storm. But the thing is, he has no damage. He has an abyssal scepter. Then he has
Master comes in. Chico is there. Shockwave, man. He is going down. Callisto now on the chase. K1ck, he's flying away on his earth, but I don't think he's going anywhere. Hansama is approaching from the left. Another pulverized combo comes in. Kaze taunts the horse. He's not going to take the kill. Hansama flashes in. Hansama once more. He's going to cleanse himself with a Quicksilver Sash. And they just get inside of K1ck's base with no trouble whatsoever. And they take what they want. They take yet another objective. They take everything.
And K1ck are just getting destroyed at the moment. Really pains me to say this, but Millenium are just outclassing K1ck so much because K1ck did not need to group for that turret. They are so behind right now. They are more than K1ck gold behind. They don't need to group. All they need to do is push the side waves and actually try to catch somebody off. They cannot team fight at the moment against Millenium. Look at their front line. Shen, Rek'Sai, Alistar. We said that if they fell behind, they would actually lack damage, but they are not behind. They are ahead and by quite a large margin. So K1ck have to stop team fighting. They are losing so much because of that. And now Millenium takes the inhibitor, Deja Vu from game 1, and they now might go try to get the Baron.
So you're speaking French now because Millenium is French.
No man, Deja Vu is a global expression.
Yeah, but it comes from France, man. At least give them the rights for that word, man.
Well, what if I said that it comes from Portugal? Now what? It's your word against mine. I'm just kidding. Okay, it's a French expression.
You won't participate in the giveaway. Anyway, Baron control. This is really important. Joko is going to take the aggression because he used the Queen's Wrath, but still, no problem, man. This is really important. He took like 5 to 6 shots from Baron, and he's still full HP.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you are really ahead as Rek'Sai. You just get very tanky. There we go, we got our position. Here we go, team fight.
Truklux is fencing Hansama, but she's just kiting away. She jumped into the Baron pit, so she won't be able to follow this one through. This might be the shot that you were looking for, but Housework comes in again, making so much work as Rux goes down. This is Lucius going next. Kaze just piling on top of them. K1ck was caught with the pulverize. That's a 3-man squad going down. Also, the hope from Portugal is going down as Millenium are just breaking an entry on K1ck's base. They are looking for the finals. The French team might take down Portugal on the second game. This could be the clean sweep unless Truklux and Chico are able to do anything, but I don't think they are. The shockwave comes in. Chico is forced to go back on his own base. And the Nexus goes down for Millenium.
Very well played by Millenium. K1ck just had no way to deal with the Shen and with the Rek'Sai. They got so tanky and Chico was so behind they had no damage for him. Really surprised by Millenium. They played really good. I expected a bit more from K1ck, but I probably understand why they played like this. Everyone has bad days. Like, let's face it, sometimes you play really bad when you're on a bad day, or maybe you're just nervous. It happens. Really well played by K1ck to get this far, by the way. Really have to give them props as well. The first Portuguese team to go so far in a tournament. However, their hopes of getting in the Challenger Series dies here. Maybe in 6 months they can try again, and they can probably do it. But for now, they have to focus on other things. Really sad for the K1ck boys. Wish them the best in the future, but Millenium go through, and they deserve it. They played really well. Props to Millenium as well.
Have a lane swap, and Masterwork will try to punish him off, but Fiora and Kindred are not that easy to annoy with, but Lucius is going to respect that support, just going on to the other side of the map, which actually will give a pretty good start for Joko and Case.
Yeah, we actually see a lane swap coming from Millenium here. It's not too bad, but they don't really have the pushing power to get the turret down as soon as possible. They don't have a Jinx, or they don't have like someone who pushes towers really quick, but they will actually get an head start on this because K1ck were surprised. They did not expect the lane swap, and now Millenium are ahead in the jungle pathing, and they also have Millenium also have the option to 3-buff K1ck actually, because the Shays choose not to do the blue buff, and Masterwork knows it because he spotted it.
Yeah, but it's not as punishing as it was in the previous season to get the triple start buff. So K1ck will try to compensate on the other side of the map. Are they going for the early dragon or are they going for the tower? As the Chase is just approaching on the banana bush, putting up a ward, trying to spot his opponent. And Millenium are just not wasting any sort of time, just stunning that push non-stop, trying to take the turret. With the second wave, they have the siege minions, so they have the potential to take it down.
And actually, this is very smart by Millenium, because, as I mentioned earlier, the top lane matchup will be one of the key components for K1ck in order to snowball the game. But actually the thing is, k1ck on Archarom opted for an Ignite and TP option, which against a Kindred early game is actually really devastating, because if you have no escape summoner, you will be dead against the Kindred if she ganks you, unless you're sitting on your turret 24/7, which he will not want to. So Millenium actually are really smart with this lane swap. They draw out a lot of pressure early game from the top lane, and now we'll see how things go, because if K1ck chooses to go top, he has no turret to protect him, and actually this 2v2 can actually be really devastating for K1ck's side if they choose to go for it.
At the mid matchup, nothing is happening. Chico is just farming away, not pushing the wave versus Pretty. We do have the blue start for Joko, but K1ck are aware of that. They have the ward in there. They try to steal it away. Lucius is able to take it down. The wall comes way too late and is not able to block Rek'Sai's path. She will be able to get away from that, but no triple buff start for Millenium at least.
Yeah, this actually was very good for K1ck, because not only Lucius gets a mark of the Kindred, but he also gets the blue buff, which he did not do earlier. So overall, because obviously Chico is now behind and he's going to have to play the catch-up game, and now here we go, Trash has some summoners and Rooks goes on him.
Masterwork is keeping the distance, throws the lantern just to bait him away. That bluff is actually viable, but Rek'Sai approaches, takes the lantern, Lucius is there, sporting the ward. It's a 3 versus 3, but Orianna approaches, so the squad is even bigger, and Cap is rotating to the top side to try and stop Archarom from farming. k1ck with his Archarom was only able to buy mana, so no stats available, no combat stats, and Cap is trying to punish him away. He's going to use the charge, the damage comes in, he could flash in and take the kill, but he's not going to commit himself to that situation, while the turret on the bot lane is going to suffer from this, and this will be a turret advantage. Well, no, they will actually tie in terms of turret versus K1ck if they are able to take this one.
Actually really well played by k1ck. It will force Archarom to either use TP or to lose quite a few minions, and he will choose not to use TP, so he will lose quite a few minions to the turret actually. The thing is now, Fiora, K1ck keeps being on the bot lane. He has the wave push to him now, so that's a pretty good thing. But the thing is also that they lose control over Drake. And the first Drake is actually really important for both teams, because they are quite reliant on their damage to do something. So they actually need the first Drake to bolster their power on the mid game, which is when the game will be the most impactful. We'll see what K1ck choose to do, because if they send K1ck right now top lane, the wave is frozen and there's no way he can farm. So the only option for them is to split the farm between k1ck and Fiora on the bot lane, which is really weird, because they're not only sharing XP, but they're also sharing the gold. Meanwhile, k1ck can just do whatever he wants, but now he's actually pushing the wave for some reason, and I predict that Millenium will push the top wave, slow push it, and now go for Drake and actually try to do it with a 5-man advantage.
Chase is finally able to reach level 6, so his ultimate will be available on a big
And Chase is out of position right now.
And they just lost the blue buff. She won't be able to take it. Lucius tries to jump away. The shockwave is there. Will he be able to use the Lambert's fight? They're trying to buy enough time, but for what? Lucius was caught. Lucius was killed. And nothing. They gain nothing from this. Meanwhile, Millenium will take even more advantage, rotating to the Rift Herald, getting the buff onto somebody. The top laner is not nearby the buff, so we won't take this one. Who will take it? This is Kalista taking the buff and...
Definitely. And the thing that worries me the most about k1ck's composition is actually their lack of engage. If you look at him, actually, they have a really diversified team comp. By that I mean that they have great siege with Anivia and K1ck, they have great wave clear, they have great split pushing, they have a solid laning phase, but their engage is really lackluster. Their only form of engage is actually Alistar, and it's not as reliable without flash, so they will have to go for a split push strategy. And when you go for that, if you fall behind in the early game, it gets really hard to execute, because obviously Fiora against Archarom is a skill matchup. It doesn't go either way very heavily, so it will be actually a very defining factor of the game if K1ck and K1ck can go head to head, or if one of them actually gets an advantage and pushes their opponent to the turret and actually manages to gain a lead and snowball it.
We have the bird's eye of the rift. Let me just tone down a little bit of the sound so you guys can listen to us. And there we go. Welcome to the Summoner's Rift, the first game of 3 games. Decide if someone is able to just clean sweep away. K1ck have been with a solid performance, I gotta say this, but they were always fighting 2-1. What do I say by this? Yeah, they always lose the second game because they are really confident and they actually make really hard mistakes. And versus Millenium, a team with so much experience, they might fall short this time, so they need to be careful with these situations. Cap is going to spot on Hansama, just push him away of that situation, while the Chase is going to use his Wolf just to deal some damage on Joko, showing off the Thunderlord's Decree. And we have some picks we need to discuss, like Wolfie support, Trundle support, but will we save that for the second game, K1ck?
Yeah, actually, let me just touch on a very important subject. We cannot stress how important this game is for both teams. Both of them, both K1ck and Millenium, actually went on a boot camp. Actually, Millenium live on a gaming house from what I know, but they trained very hard for this game. And so did K1ck. They actually did a boot camp for a couple of days, or maybe 3, I don't know, but they trained very hard for this game as well. So this game actually defines their lives. And so they will be on a lot of pressure to perform and give their best at this game. And we actually can see some rookie mistakes from them, because if they let the nerves get to them, it can be very punishing on a game like this.
They will try to punish this time as we...
Overall, K1ck end up with a slight advantage here, but they're still behind in gold only by a bit. Now we'll see how K1ck holds his own on the bot lane against Kalista and Thresh. It will be really hard, but K1ck are probably looking for a dive right now.
Rugs on the top side is just trying to push Joko away, but that's a level 4 Rek'Sai versus a level 2 Alistar. K1ck still trying to farm underneath the turret, while Kalista is just pushing on that turret. Hansama, who had great scores with the previous game on Kalista, but they find Joko. They're able to zone him out, so Archarom is alone on the top side, but K1ck is getting dove. Hansama gets the damage in, the teleport comes to the top side, Chico tries to get the stun, and here comes the first blood. Millenium, however, take another kill on the bot side, so this is a 1-for-1, but first blood in favor of K1ck.
And great TP by Chico, really making use of the teleport summoner that he chose over the Orianna's clans. Unfortunately, K1ck also loses K1ck on the bot lane, but they will trade towers, it will be even. The only problem for K1ck is that now Orianna is almost 15 CS up on Chico, so that will be a really defining factor on the mid lane, but it's an Anivia anyway, she will scale. So really well played by K1ck, take the turret advantage and also the first blood, and there we go. K1ck on an advantage, can they do anything with it?
Always the same thing, K1ck ahead on the first game. Will they take this lead versus Millenium? As you told us, a team that has a gaming house, a team that is so good and so experienced. K1ck again caught by the death sentence, is able to parry the auto attack and the turret. Gets 2 shots on Hansama, so they won't be able to follow this one through even if they want to. No summoner spells available for the bot lane aside from the ignite, so no escape for them if they overcommit themselves, realizing that they are going back. Let me just see the goal. 1400 for Kalista. She will probably go for, there we go, recurve bow and double dagger on boots.
Definitely a good start for K1ck, because not only did they get the first blood, which is obviously worth more gold, but also Millenium's bot lane now has no summoners compared to the flash and heal from K1ck. So if they choose to go 2v2, they have the clear advantage because K1ck has more gold he has more summoners, and they can actually force a fight. Also, they have no turret on bot lane, so it's an easy gank for Chase on Kindred as well. The problem is, and I have to say, is that, as I said, K1ck have an advantage now, but how can they push it forward? Because they have no engage, so they cannot force skirmishes. They do not want to force skirmishes.
Yes, guys, Happy New Year, by the way. So we jump into the first game of the day. K1ck versus Millenium. K1ck blue side, Millenium red side. My name is Archarom, I'm together with K1ck. Welcome!
Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to be here with my great friend Alexandre Archarom.
Is that all? Is that everything you have to say, man? Okay.
Well, I mean, do you want me to hype the game? Because I don't think it needs any more hype than it is already.
Yeah, it's by default really hyped, by the way, guys. I was able to interview Chico, but we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes, shall we? Looking at the K1ck side, we have Fiora on the top lane, Kindred in the jungle, mid lane Anivia, K1ck as the AD carry, and Alistar as the support. Millenium side, however, we have Archarom on the top side, Rek'Sai in the jungle, Orianna in the mid lane, Kalista and Thresh will be fighting on the bot lane.
Actually, it's really unfortunate that we cannot see the bans, but I predict that a Lee Sin and an Elise ban actually came through. But alas, we will see Kindred versus Rek'Sai in the jungle, which is a really interesting matchup, because I think that both these teams have actually a very good jungler, and I think that the early game will be a key component to how the game will develop. Obviously, we have two really aggressive bot lanes, which is awesome to see, especially for us. We have a passive mid lane, where both mid laners will try to scale and get their core items to go to the mid and late game, and we also have an explosive top lane. So a lot of the action on the side lanes. Mid lane will be a bit more controlled, but I'm eager to see how both these junglers will impact the early game.
Yeah, because they are so focused on the early game, Chase, and on the other side, Joko. They have been having terrific performance overall in the Challenger Series Open Qualifier. I gotta say, I'm really sad that only one of these guys will be able to pass on into the finals and to the Challenger Series Qualifier, which sadly I won't be able to stream because it's closed. It's on Tournament Rail, so I seriously doubt that I will have access to that one. But while we have access to this one, this is what we are going to focus on, because tomorrow it's the last game. The final will be fought tomorrow during the afternoon. So, meanwhile, I would like to talk about these picks. Kaze has been playing Fiora non-stop on the Challenger Series Qualifier, and k1ck was able to stole it away. Let's be honest, this is the first time we are going to see k1ck on a hyper carry top lane in this specific tournament. He is a beast as a split pusher, but this is the first time we are going to see anything like this.